Hello, and thank you all for joining us to talk everything filming in Hungary. Before we get started, I wanted to mention that there is captioning for those who are hearing impaired for accessibility. It is in a QR code outside, and it's also available online for people who are watching live online. Thank you all for joining us. And I'm so excited to have you all here today. Thank you for joining us. At the far end of the stage here, we have Mike Goodridge, a fantastic producer with Good Chaos. We have Ildikó Kemeny, Pioneer Pictures producer. We have Csaba Kael, film commissioner. And then we have Robert Lantos, fantastic producer. Before we get started with the Q&A, we're actually going to show a video so you all can get an idea of what is available in terms of studio space and production capabilities in Hungary. Amazing. That was quite a bit. Before I get started with the Q&A up here, I wanted to mention we'll have time for a Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, keep those in mind. We'll have a couple minutes at the end. But to kick off here, Csaba, I want to get started with you. I'm wondering if you can lay a baseline understanding in terms of what is available for tax rebate, tax incentives in the country.
So good morning, everybody. We are happy you are with us now. What you saw, it was an introduction about our new investment. This is not so far from Budapest, the NFI studios. And we are enlarging our studio capacity in this year. The end of this year will be ready our 4 new sound stages. It's 12,000 square meters. And you have to know about Hungary and Budapest. Around Budapest, from 20 minutes in the center of Budapest, we have 4 studio complexes. 3 of them is private, and these NFI studios is owned by the state. And the development of it started in the time of COVID, because we pushed the government in the COVID time. Was not possible to make new productions. And we said a step ahead and make the film business in a strategic position. And the government understood us, and we started to develop this project 3 years ago. And the end of the year, all will be ready. So, some other words about Hungary. Who've been there, please? Oh, wonderful. For the streaming, I can offer, and I hope so, who are sitting here also will offer, you must come to Budapest as tourists and to shoot, of course. This is very, very important. Here, our colleagues we'll talk about it. What does it mean to shoot in Hungary or in Budapest? So, it's a special anniversary because the tax initiative in Hungary is 20 years old. When we stepped into the European Union, that was our opportunity to make this new tax rebate system. And Hungary was the first in Central Europe, and we are very proud on it, and it's developed very well. All days, Hungary became in the continental Europe the biggest film hub. In our Europe, only the UK is before Hungary, but it's normal. It's a bigger country. Our tax initiative is very simple, but very effective. The first side may be nothing special because 30% of the spent money for productions. But we have a very simple method to reach it. And for example, we have no top for the productions about this 30%. And those producers who can use it, they can spend for not only the Hungarian spending, but some internationals. Maybe my colleagues will talk about it later. And Budapest is a fabulous city, full with cultural activities, full with touristic opportunities. And it's very, very eclectic because we always build something wonderful since 1,000 years and always destroyed and rebuilt and destroyed. But now Budapest is similar to Paris, to Rome, to London, to everywhere. And very simple to find very good locations. And this is also very important. We have wonderful hospitality, huge amount of 5-star, 5+ star hotels, and so on. Maybe is it enough to introduction? Thank you.
1,000 years of shooting locations is very impressive. Ildikó and Robert, I want to start with you two because you are so experienced in shooting in Hungary. I'm wondering if you can, let's start with the tax rebate specifically. How has that helped your productions? Can you give any specific examples of how those tax programs have helped you get productions up and going?
Robert or me? I can start. So yes, the tax incentive is 20 years old this year. Our company is 15 years old, and I'm proud to say that over the years we started off with 1-2 productions per year. Now we are up to 4-5 productions per year, just our company. So we have been very lucky to participate in the latest kind of very exciting films like Yorgos Lanthimos's film. Poor Things was filmed with us 2 years ago and reached to the top, got 4 Oscars. Very proud of the fact that Hungarian crew actually participated in 3 of these awards. So basically, our set decorator got an Oscar, the art department, and makeup, hair, and costume. We had hundreds of Hungarians working on that film. So that's just one example to show you and explain to you that, for example, on that film, we actually used the facilities of the studios and the 30% tax rebate, which obviously helped us to attract the film. There was a big competition amongst many countries where would they be actually filming, and we won because the mathematics came out really well regarding the cost of production, cost of construction, and basically the crew base was very important. On other films, we are actually a lot on locations. So Budapest is brilliantly fitting into all kinds of European countries, except for England, so we have to team up there. But that's another story how we team up. But the vast amount of interesting locations. The lab, for example, which is also a fantastic attraction. This morning there is an article in Screen about the fact that our 35 mil lab is actually one of the best in the world. We used it on Yorgos's film. We used it on Maria, which is coming out hopefully it's going to be in Venice. And we will be using it on László Nemes's film. So maybe I'm jumping ahead, but would like to make the connection that it's not only service production, but actually it's helping local filmmakers. The 30% tax rebate attracted so many fantastic films on which the Hungarian crew actually managed to be trained, and the crew base got bigger, all the possibilities. So actually that's indirectly helping the local talent. So with Mike Goodridge, we are actually about to start filming on László Nemesé's next film, which is a four-way co-production. It's with the NFI's participation and the BFI via Mike, and we have got French and German co-producers. It's a 70-10-10-10 co-production, and it's a big part, again, the incentive and also the direct investment we have been getting from the NFI.
That was incredible. Thank you. Robert, what about for you? Can you speak to how the tax rebates and incentives have assisted in your productions in Hungary?
Sure. Is this on? Yeah? Okay. Well, let me start by saying, everything I'm about to say is colored by my bias because I was born in Hungary, though I don't live there, but I have a personal tie to the place, and I love working there. So having said that, I first filmed in Hungary long before anybody thought of a tax rebate. In 1993, 2 television movies commissioned by CBS, and then several others. So I actually feel that you owe me a lot of money because there were, and then I made Being Julia and Sunshine and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and none of those had a penny of tax credit. And nevertheless, I thought Hungary was a great place to shoot, with tax credits notwithstanding. So when that happened, when that was introduced, that was really putting like the icing on the cake. So whenever I have a project that actually needs a European-looking city, my direct path is to Budapest. The most recent production that I produced in Hungary is actually in Hungarian and in Italian and in German, but in one language that it isn't is English. And it's a 10-hour epic series set in the 15th century, which is financed from Hungary, from Germany, and Austria. I think I can say that one of all the places in the world where I have made films where the rebate is most guaranteed to function smoothly is Hungary. When you shoot in Canada, you end up having to go through several audits. By the time you actually get your rebate, it's a year and a half after you finish shooting. And when you shoot in Greece, then you sort of have to hope you get your rebate. In Hungary, you don't need to pray, you don't need to go to church or synagogue. It happens automatically, and you don't have to wait a year and a half. So that's the advantage of it. But I'll confess that if there was no more rebate, I would still go to shoot in Hungary.
So if you don't want to go to a place of worship, shoot in Hungary is what that means. Mike, I want to go to you. You're getting ready to film in Hungary, and you have, in your previous life as a journalist, you're very familiar with tax incentives and rebates from executive, then now producer. You filmed or have knowledge of several filming locations throughout the world. What helpful differences have you found now that you're getting ready to shoot in Hungary that you've noticed in preparing for this production as compared to other places in the world?
That's an interesting question. I've shot in Japan, in India. I'm about to shoot in Hong Kong, and Hungary is just it's a bit like the UK in the sense that it's extremely experienced. That there's a huge talent pool there of below the line talent that are respected throughout the world, and as Robert says, it can double for lots of different places. So I remember standing on the cathedral steps, and somebody pointed to various streets and said, "That was Paris, that was Rome, that was that was Munich." I think it was the film Munich that shot that, And so it's very comfortable, I think. I mean, you look at the list of the films that have shot there recently and look at the talent the big stars and directors that have worked in Hungary. They're very comfortable there, you know. So, that's a very important thing when you can have all the tax incentives you like, but you also have to have a base of comfort for demanding foreigners. That's why England, I think, works, because we speak English. It makes it a lot simpler, you know.
Ildikó, I wanted to go back to you. I actually spoke to Poor Things producer Ed Guiney during this past award season, and he was, at the time, before I knew I was even moderating this panel, he was talking about filming in Hungary and how incredible it was when he was explaining to me how they built out Lisbon in the sound stages. And so with that knowledge, I'm wondering if you can take us through, because he explained it as being massive. I'm wondering if you can take us through how those sound stages and production capabilities, how you built in them for Poor Things specifically.
Sure. Stage capacity actually is just growing. So, but even at that time, we had Origo Studio, Korda Studio, Muffilm. It's two stages now. 4 more stages are being built. Astra Studio, they have got 3 stages, and now extra 3, I think, extra 5 are going to be built. So that's actually a real plus. But also, it's not just the stage space, but I think Hungarian construction companies are amazing. So we have about 4 or 5 really brilliant ones. And again, kind of going back, way back, as Robert said, it started off, kind of 20 plus years ago. All these construction companies were already building amazing sets. So some of the outdoor sets you were actually seeing on this little film, that was built then, and each production coming in adding to it. Now, you were asking about Poor Things. That actually was all built from scratch because the director's vision was such that he wanted to have a world he created and could control it, both kind of visually as well as with lights. So amazing set drawings we were getting, and we were bidding it out to all the different construction companies. Then we actually worked with more than one, because we had actually the London street at the beginning of the film. That's an outdoor set. Sadly, not there anymore. We couldn't keep it for various different reasons, including copyright. But all the kind of Lisbon, Paris, these were all sets built in, and the boat. So, and the digital technology used around the boat, which is also something Hungary is getting into. At that time, we had to bring them in from abroad. Now I think we have got about 2 to 3 different companies who could help us with that. But that was an amazing challenge, what we had on Yorgos's film and with Ed. So basically, it was just getting those amazing set design drawings, and then kind of bidding it out, making sure that we had the right quality and the actual amount of time we had. Of course, it's always we are up against time and quality, so that was the biggest challenge, and very proud that each one of them turned out amazing.
Yeah, you can see the end result on screen, and it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Robert, I wanted to go to you, and I know you mentioned the recent production you're working on, Rise of the Raven, and it's incredible to me what you were able to shoot in Hungary. It's a medieval period piece that you're able to shoot in the country. I'm wondering if you can kind of speak to what you were able to find in Hungary that you probably wouldn't be able to find anywhere else in the world.
Well, this is a 10-hour kind of epic series set in the Middle Ages, and we shot all of it in Hungary, even though the story takes us to Italy, to Austria, to Turkey, to Serbia, but we built it all. So a lot of it on sound stages, and then we built gigantic sets which are now available for all of you to use, and everybody else in the world to use. So any production that needs that needs a castle and a fort, so anywhere in 15th or 16th or even 17th century, it's all there, courtesy of the National Film Institute, which mostly paid for it. So we had at first we debated whether to actually go to locations and realized if you can't do 15th century on location because it doesn't look like the 15th century, so you have to build it regardless. And Hungary, as Ildikó said earlier, the construction and carpentry in Hungary is exceptional. The speed with which the work is done and the quality of it is better than anywhere else I've seen. So we made a decision to build, and boy, did we build.
And everyone's been talking about the local crews that are available in Hungary. So, Csaba, I want to come back to you. Can you please talk about the National Film Institute's training courses that they're starting for local talent? I think that is so incredible that you're building up talent locally on the ground. So can you kind of go through what that is and then ultimately what's the goal?
So it's a huge competition in Europe to be on the top. Of course, it was very difficult to reach, but it's more difficult to keep it. So that's why very important the education. But you have to know the Hungarian film started in 1901. So all our film industry is 123 years old. It's a huge experience. And on the field of education, we can use it. Here is a huge tradition. I used to say we have a special film DNA in Hungary. As you know, in the international stage, there are famous Hungarian filmmakers, this, and sorry. And in Hollywood studio, founders were Mr. Fox and Mr. Cukor was also Hungarian origin, and so on. And also very important that in the beginning, 20 years ago, when a crew arrived to Hungary, the percentage was 30% Hungarian professionals and 70% from abroad. Nowadays, 80% is Hungarian and only 20% from abroad. This is very, very important, and not only on the service field, but more and more in the creative fields. For example, Ildikó mentioned about the poor things. It was built a huge ship. It was a construction work, but around it, that was the sea on LED panels. It's a huge one. And for example, we had a special collaboration with the Hungarian Drama and Film School. In the last year, we pushed them to start the education of the LED technology. This is the first university in Europe where it's concentrating how can we use the LED technology, what kind of lighting, DOP works, directors, so all of them. And also important because we have more than 20,000 professionals in Hungary who are in the film business to help them because it's not enough only to build new studios, but we need very skilled, good skilled professionals and to help to the production. And also very important in the post-production side, because now I started to discover the Hungarian post-production opportunities. Ildikó mentioned the film laboratory, which is working with the analog side. It's very well because it's also a wonderful treasure for us. And also the digital side. And the digital side is developing very, very quickly. And we have to educate for this part also our new professionals. But I can also mention, I was very happy because Maestro Coppola came to make the sound recording, the part of the score place to Budapest. You have to know in Budapest we have 8 symphony orchestras. And the maestro chose one of the best. It's a National Film Orchestra, and you have to listen how wonderful the music score in the Megapolis movie. This is very strong, and the maestro was always strong on the field of music. And so for this whole part of the filmmaking, we need new professionals, and that's why very important the education by the National Film Institute, and also we are supporting them. We are helping to change experience with the international stage too, because they have to work many times in English, of course. So these are very important point of view.
And on that note, Mike, I actually wanted to come to you now. You're gearing up for production, and I'm wondering if you can speak to what has it been like sourcing local talent, if you have, for this film. What have you found there as you're gearing up to film Orphan?
Well, I'll defer to Ildikó on that because she's on the ground much more than me.
I think basically we have been lucky on this, especially because László Nemes's reputation and the hope of his new film, and us working with him. I mean, he comes with a crew. He is very loyal to those who he has actually been working with. They are all Hungarians, so we have an amazing Hungarian DOP, designer, costume designer. So on this film we have got no question, but everyone's Hungarian. And then we will be going to abroad to do VFX and sound, and of course, because of the co-production requirements, we actually have to. Otherwise, we could do the whole film in Hungary, to be absolutely honest. Sorry about that. But no, in terms of the local crew, that wasn't the question there. I think if I may refer back to the non-Hungarian films, that's where I'm seeing a huge change in us teaming up with, on film or TV projects. Less and less incoming heads of departments are necessary even. So just to jump from films to TV for a second, we have a TV series for NBC Universal called FBI International. I don't know who has been following that, but in America it's hugely popular.
Very popular.
Very, very popular. And we have just been greenlit for season 4. And this is all kind of extremely American. The scripts are being written in writers' rooms back in America, but on the ground, the crew have become almost all Hungarians. So I'm so proud to say that even first ADs they don't need to bring in. We have got local ones. DPs are all Hungarians. Costume designer Hungarians. So actually, that's how the incoming financier get better value out of us by actually not spending money on bringing in expensive, sorry to say that, but American or UK crew. So the Hungarian crew are just as talented, and basically they sleep at home. We don't have to kind of pay for accommodation, don't have to travel. Therefore, we want to talk about green issues, but even, it helps with our kind of carbon footprint. So from every point of view, but especially the talent, I'm so proud of the fact that we can actually put out an almost fully Hungarian crew on an American project like that.
I was going to come to you, so this is perfect.
No, I'll second that. There's already no need to bring heads of department to Hungary. Directors of photography, production designers, costume designers are among the best in the world, and that's, on my films, that's what I have been doing. Unless it's a co-production, and for those reasons, one has to bring in crew from wherever the co-producing country is, but otherwise, there is really the Hungarian, not just below-the-line crews, but the heads of department, the artists, are absolutely top-notch. So,
one thing I will say is that and Csaba touched on it, there's a great legacy of world-class filmmakers from Hungary too, of which László, I think, is of the latest wave. But I mean, for the last century, it's delivered some incredible directors, and you've worked with his friend Csaba and others, and I think that's what is also to be noted here. You know, I mean, that's why I wanted to work with Laszlo, because I love his cinema and I love what he does. You know, and I think that's the excitement for me of working in Hungary with this great Hungarian film director.
And you're, of course, talking about Laszlo Nemes.
Laszlo Nemes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
We're working together, yeah.
Oscar winner, Laszlo Nemes. I wanted to talk about, and you brought this up just right now, I want to talk about sustainability efforts. It's something that the international film community is talking about. It's something in the US that people are talking about, though they aren't quick to jump on it as much as the international community. I am wondering, Csaba, maybe let's start with you. You know, what sustainability efforts are in place for productions in Hungary? How are you thinking about green production in the country?
As Ildikó mentioned, we are focusing on the green points of view, of course. This is very important, all of us and all over the world, of course in Hungary too. And we are working on it. For example, Ildikó is in this kind of group who is working what will be our steps ahead. And it's started by the National Film Institute, but of course very experienced producers and professionals are working on it, because we would like to make it an exceptional one, but maybe Ildikó can talk more about it.
Yes, I find it personally very important, and I'm really pleased that the NFI is actually kind of joining in with the initiative. On certain productions, so for example on a Netflix production, we have to have a Greens department and basically follow all the guidelines. So I have been lucky to work with actually a company called Green Eyes. Two girls set it up about 2-3 years ago, and they have done all the international kind of training programs, so they have helped us to kind of make us greener, because of course the film industry is one of the most polluting industries. That's not something we can be proud of, but we can be proud of how to help it. So actually kind of moving on from the obvious, where, you know, we have to have selective rubbish, to actually now much more important, I mean, that is now the obvious. And even if we don't have a Greens department, that's a requirement on every productions we do. But moving on to, for example, transport and generators we use. So everything kind of goes hand in hand, because of course it's helping us to be more green, but at the same time less, you know, kind of use less money. So wherever we can, we now plug into the mains. When we go on locations, even Budapest, although it's very film friendly, we have 22 districts, and each district we have to apply for permission. But of course, even in Budapest, you know, those who live in these districts, they are actually kind of, you know, we are a pain when we turn up, but especially when we are kind of using, you know, the wrong type of fuel for generators and all of that. So we have managed to kind of scale that down, although the film scale has been going up. So I'm very proud of the fact when we are finding solutions, how we are being more sustainable, less disturbing for the occupants of all these places where we are filming. So it goes hand in hand, and I find it very important. So I'm part of this working group of local producers. We get together every second month and exchange ideas, what we learn on kind of incoming foreign films, and how we can actually make that, turn that into, you know, the practicals and the norm for Hungary.
That's incredible. Having guidelines and best practices already is amazing to me, coming from an American perspective. I wanted to talk about, and you all have talked about this as well, you know, we've talked about the local talent, we've talked about the studio space, we've talked about taxes, but you all have just talked about just Hungary in general, you know, talking about accommodations, how easy it is to get there from other places in Europe. What are those, you know, extracurriculars that really make filming in Hungary for international productions easy, outside of course, the infrastructure for filming itself?
Hungary is a very safety country. It's very, very important. A lot of stars said it's wonderful. They can walk on the streets. They can go to restaurants, to special wine cellars, of course, because the Hungarian wine is very good. It's a good invitation point of view. I offer to everybody, not only Tokaj, because it's the most famous, but we have several. We have 7 wine regions. And also because it's a huge cultural hub. And it's very difficult to find time for the stars to go to our opera house or performing arts centers or museums and so on. But they love to go to enjoy it, and also it's not a secret, but it's a fact. From the most popular hotels, they can reach the location in 20 minutes. 20. If you're thinking about London or LA, it's maybe with helicopter sometimes, yes.
I can get to my corner in 20 minutes. LA. Yeah.
This is also very important. And what Robert mentioned, they can find any kind of solution with certain sets. And this is not only in Budapest, but around the country. For example, we have castle programs by the state. They are renewing our old castles. You can find a Versailles-style castle from there to Baroque, any kind of wonderful castles. And these are also very, very popular. They are participating in famous American movies and American miniseries. Even you don't know, but there is a Hungarian Hungarian castle. And one plus, this is the Hungarian mentality. It's very strange. Maybe you can talk about the Hungarian mentality, because the filmmakers used to say this mentality is very warm, very helpful, and very concentrating on the production. I think so. This human side is very, very important. What do you think?
No, absolutely. We're making a film set in medieval England next year, and I think the only medieval village we can find is in Hungary to shoot in, ironically. I'll be talking to you about that, by the way.
We just finished Shard Lake, which is out on Disney Plus, and that's Cromwell time. And we used the 2 backlots, 2 of them, and the combination of it looks amazing, actually, in some locations. So it's possible. But I just wanted to refer back to you for a second that, regarding Budapest and what I'm almost the most proud of and the happiest when all these filmmakers come to Budapest, not for a day or 2, but they actually kind of move there for months on end, because some of these, especially kind of TV series, could be actually more than a year being in Budapest. But when they find a home away from home kind of feeling, and they love being there, and not just on that project, but then they are checking in, oh, we want to come back on your next project because we love it here. So I think that's very good that Budapest is kind of the size where, you just mentioned that you can't get to your corner within 20 minutes, but that's what it is, that, everyone lives centrally. We actually offer up apartments, because just to be in a hotel for that long, that's actually a bit kind of, too long. So both for cast and crew members to actually kind of feel at home and to go to work where, they get there within 15 to 20 minutes, and then there are the weekends when the cultural activities, from going to the opera to concerts to just for walks and eating out. So actually
wine.
this is and the wine, of course, coming back to Csaba and food. So that has been a really good experience for everyone. So it's really nice to hear when, sometimes you kind of projects checking in and it's like, oh my God, we have to be there for 6 to 8 months. So will the talent be actually okay? And I just, always say, do you want me to list many, many films where top talent to, the crew, heads of departments, they just love being in Budapest for that long. So actually that's a good thing too. Helpful.
What about for you, Robert?
Well, I just add one more thing. It's also a gastronomic paradise, and much to the chagrin of my belt, it's one of the best places to eat in the world. And then and then you can kind of sweat it off in the thermal baths, which Hungary has more of that than I think any place I've ever been. Hot water springs are seen all over the country, and they're pretty wonderful places to recover after a night of significant indulgence.
Or after a long shoot, maybe.
There's that too.
Yeah. We're coming up on only a couple minutes left, so I have a couple more questions, but I did want to bring it to the audience and see if there are any questions out here for our panelists. Yeah, right here.
You've spoken a lot about the benefits of shooting in Hungary. I'm biased. I love Hungarians. I'm Hungarian. So it's a really interesting prospect for us as British filmmakers, one British filmmaker. What would you say the biggest challenges for anyone coming to Hungary? What are the challenges? You've spoken about the benefits, but what have you found the biggest challenges to be?
The biggest challenges of filming in Hungary is the question.
I guess, challenges are always there wherever we make films. So, that's kind of a given. Well, I guess, our language, Hungarian language is so different from, yeah. But, the good news is that when I actually started in the industry, there were lots of translators on a set. Every department had a translator and the director and the producers. Now we have none. So the actual kind of working language is now English. So, but that's could, you could call it a challenge. The capacity could be a challenge. So since we are a popular destination, there are kind of, and you never know regarding, we are negotiating on so many new projects, and when they get their green light, and we are always trying to be careful and not to overdo in terms of our own capacity and the local crew, because we want to put out, an A-list crew on every production. But then there could be delays, and like we had during, because of COVID or the SAG strikes. So there are always factors which are actually pushing our timetable around. So that could be a challenge regarding capacity. So I would make sure that whoever you are talking to will be getting the best crew possible, so they actually sign up for your project in its scale. That's important. What else?
We are working on it to shoot without challenges, but as Ildikó said, there are challenges. But one more point of view, what is also important, we have a wonderful film archive. This is the biggest in Central Europe. And a lot of filmmakers like to go there and to looking for footages, and we have a really rich amount of it. Even we have a wonderful festival. This is the Budapest Classic Film Marathon. After Lyon and the Bologna Archive Film Festival, we have this classical film festival is very strong. I offered to come in September. It's always happening in September. And you can find a very special atmosphere. It's you think about, maybe I've been here, but maybe never. But this is the special atmosphere of Hungary and Budapest. And we are really working on it to shoot, minimize the challenges. That's why very important our international connections. That's why very important with the British Film Institute, for example, now, or cooperation. We are making a lot kind of co-productions. This is the strongest and the biggest now. This new wonderful historical series what Robert producing, and it's always maybe for the first sight seems difficult to make good co-productions, but we really believe it. You have to know, Hungary is a small country, 10 million people. Our market is small, but if we are making together co-productions, the market is larger and larger. For example, for the Rise of Raven, by the productions found new markets around Europe. We hope so we can reach for the first site with the participants only 180 million Europeans, and we will see because these are those participants' countries who are, what Robert mentioned, who are touched by the story. So we try to minimize the challenges.
You're right. It's a very small country, but it punches way above its weight. And I mean, I've shot in. I'm just doing a mental inventory. I've shot in Budapest. Budapest has stood in for London, Paris, New York, Milan, Berlin, just in my films. So it's it's one of those. Rarely hear the word no in Hungary. Really, the answer in most things is let's figure out a way. That's not like that everywhere.
Any other questions from the audience? Anything anyone's curious about? I did want to, if you'll allow me another question, I did want to bring it back. Csaba, you mentioned something about the humanity of Hungary, and you were mentioning that maybe Mike can comment on that, and I am going to throw it to you. You are an international producer coming into the country. If you were speaking to other international producers who are maybe considering Hungary, what would you tell them about your experience so far of working with the country?
Well, I think we've said it all, haven't we? Great food. Yeah. Good one. I mean, these things sound like they're trivial, but they're not. I mean, I think it's making a film is incredibly hard work, and I think if you are in an environment where you feel safe, where you feel you have access to restaurants and culture, it's really important. So that's what I think about when I think of Hungary. I think of all the great dinners I've had there, and the great people I know. So I think that's everything, isn't it? When you're making a film, because usually when you're shooting a film, you're working like 16-hour days. Often working at nights. It's hard. It's really hard. So you want the best sort of out of production situation.
Wine, food, thermal baths.
Yeah.
Holy Trinity right there.
Exactly.
And just so everyone knows where, Csaba, to bring us home here, where can they find information about filming everything, NFI? Where can that be found?
We have a website, it's nfi.hu, it's Hungary, and you can find there the starting informations. And of course, we are helping if via this website you can reach us by emails or directly. And we have international department. Here is Csaba Beretsky, for example. Are you here, Csaba? Yeah, over there. And also, if do you need certain information, certain period of the shooting, you can find about the studio's leader, about the post-productions part. So on this website you can find everything. If not, please write us and we will contact you.
Well, thank you all so much for taking the time today. I so appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.